Hello everyone and welcome to another video, and what is going to be a pretty short one because we have already tested Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022, but today we're taking a look at the newly released Battle Royale and free-to-play element Warzone 2.0. For this video I'm using my trusty AMD Athlon 3000G with integrated Vega 3 graphics, overclocked to 1600 MHz. The CPU segment of this chip is a 3.5 GHz 2-core, 4-threaded socket AM4 part, and somehow it still manages to play even the most modern of games, albeit with some massively significant sacrifices sometimes, usually in terms of visual settings and resolution. This probably never was a processor intended by AMD for gaming, and if anyone from AMD is watching this, well, they're probably just as surprised as I am that this thing A, still works, and B, can still launch and play 2022 games. Warzone 2.0 is no exception, but we've got to go as low as possible here, while ignoring all the in-game upscaling options. The minimum render resolution of 710 by 400 is what's needed for the absolute best performance, and even then, well, take a look. We can apply some sharpening though with the Fidelity CAS sharpening scale slider thing. 50% will have no impact on performance whatsoever. Starting with the warm-up period here, and this is a sign of things to come. I didn't expect much from this processor, and I'm sure you didn't either, so anything over 30 FPS is a bonus in my opinion. That was actually possible here. Most of the time I found the game sitting between 30 and 40 frames per second on this PC, except for Inside the Gulag, which generally ran a lot better, but there is much less going on screen, and the idea is to try and not spend any time in here, so this is a bittersweet result. Furthermore, 30 to 40 FPS probably isn't a high enough frame rate margin to be considered acceptable in a competitive gaming environment, but hey, this thing is giving it a good go. And I think I'll upgrade the memory at a later date to 32 gigs of higher speed RAM to see if that helps with the 3000G. However, we are going to find ourselves limited more and more by the 2 physical cores and Vega 3 iGPU as time goes on. I wanted to test the 3000G again today to give you a worst case scenario type experience with modern integrated graphics, because I think this highlights that Warzone 2.0 isn't particularly difficult to run, which I think is very important as far as free to play multiplayer games are concerned. The more inclusive the game is towards its potential player base, the better. And considering this is a free game, well, you want as many people playing it as possible, and the more that can do that with a low-end PC, of course, well, the better it is. Just to finalise, be sure to wait for the shaders to optimise 100% before jumping into any game. This is probably obvious, but it can take a long time with hardware like this, so you might think it's got stuck at 50% or something, but it hasn't, and not waiting for the shaders to optimise or compile, or whatever it's called, will cause all sorts of stutter and frame drops with the 3000G. I didn't wait first time round and wondered why I was getting about 8 frames per second and a frame time of about, well, it's not even worth thinking about. The game eventually just froze and then closed. So yeah, the 3000G, with its integrated Vega 3 graphics, somehow manages to run this game, but most of you probably aren't going to find the result playable, but I think that's probably the idea, or the result with most of these videos. We're not necessarily demonstrating playability, more of the fact that this can start and run these games, no matter how bad the frame rate might be. With all that said and done then, if you've got a Ryzen APU or anything more powerful than this, you shouldn't have a problem. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a dislike if you didn't. Let me know what you think of the performance down below in the comments, of course. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see all of you in the next one.